Hey guys, Kev here, and I have some prototypes to check out. So these are from my boy Lewis. He's a local buddy, and he also has a YouTube channel, ATK, Addicted to Knives. He also has a knife company, ATK, no, ATKnives.net. Sorry. I always want to add the K. It's ATKnives.net. And this is his second knife. His first knife, the Halt, is fantastic. Absolutely epic first knife release. Definitely check it out. There might still be some available on his website. And I'm going to link that down below for you. And you can check it out if you like. But I have all four of these prototypes here. And I believe I'm passing either all of them or some to Tri-State after this. So stay tuned. Check out Tri-State's channel. Great dude. And if you want to see his thoughts on the knife. We have 4 versions. Let me make sure there's nothing on here that I wouldn't want to show you. It looks like it's just these 2 pages, and then these kind of go with the rest. Okay. I want to do my own sort of thought process on it and then look at the changes. It's kind of how I like to roll. So I can kind of give what I would change and then go from there. So let's crack into these, shall we? The OEM on these, I believe, is Caudabe knives. So he was trying Caudabe knives out on this knife, and I believe that's in order to try to bring a better price for you guys, which is awesome. Right off the bat, I'm going to say it feels nice, and I like the handle, and I'm liking the look. I am liking the look. Looks like a DLC handle, potentially DLC everything here. Nice pocket clip. Very cool design on that. Interesting area right here. Not sure how I feel about that. It almost feels a little bit like it was done by hand or something. It's got a weird angle to it there. Almost too designy there. But that's just me. I like the retention. That feels nice. We are dead center. We have the notch. Very ballsy to go notch. We have a fuller, so we can flick it, I assume. Oh, we're going to be... this is a right-handed knife, and it has a frame lock, as you can see here, which is nicely done with an internal relief cut. I like that very much. Looks like an internally mounted steel insert. I can kind of see the over travel stop there. So probably better to do it right-handed on the first flick. Let's try that again. Okay, very nice. I like that flicky. We have a sheep's foot blade right here. Very cool. Slender knife. It's a nice size. I like this size. Very much I like this size. I always want a flat or a choil or something to choke up with, and it looks like we do have something that we can grip down on up here, which is nice. We have is this hollow ground? Yeah, I think it's hollow ground. I think it's like a shallow hollow. I guess it's not a very tall blade, so they probably can't get a very big wheel on it. But I'm pretty sure that would be hollow ground. If not, obviously I'd recommend it be hollowed out. We can see it's got relatively durable tip there. I like the blade shape a lot. You guys know I'm a sheep's foot guy. It's got a little bit of aggressiveness to it. Very nice action. Front flipper does work. The jimping on the front flipper needs to be addressed. I believe, I think I saw that on there when I just kind of peeked at that page on accident. But obviously what we want here is that jimping to go up and around the top. I would just say, hey, continue the jimping up and around. Just make sure it stops before you get to this spot where it hits the stop pin, so you don't cause any kind of lock rock or whatever it could do. Yeah, I like the front flipper though. Just need more jimps. The flick works very well. You could, yeah, you can thumb flick that sucker. I think I want a little more lock bar access here. Do I need to have it? Like, is it unusable? No, it's fine. It works, right? You can just go in with your thumb. A lot of people leave that the way it is. They leave it, you know, they did cut it back a little bit, or he did. But a lot of people leave that so that it just has a cleaner look. You don't have like a cutout. I'm more of a fan of integrating that cutout into the design somehow. Nice rollback on this. You can see that right there. Boom. Reach around. Yeah, if you had that jimping, it would be easy peasy lemon squeezy on that. But I love the milling. Very well done. I really like this. Let's see what else we got here. We have a blue one. So we have DLC, I think, on the hardware. A little nick right here, but that's fine. Feels good. Lefty flick's not gonna. Oh, wait. No way. How come that works? Yeah, I really want that jimping to be, because I always kind of ride my finger. The way I use the front flipper is I kind of ride my finger up to the top, and I kind of try to bear down right near the top so that I get the best leverage point. And if it's not jimped the way I think it should be, you get to that corner and you almost like slip over it, if that makes sense. Like here's an example of one on ours. Here's the binge, right? That jimping goes up and around. Obviously a different style, right? But I kind of ride it up to the top. Maybe a better example would be like the Growler V3, where it's at the front like this one. I kind of come up to the top, let that jimping catch me, and then fire it. And, you know, you would be hard pressed to miss it because you're not going to slip over, right? And then when you go for the reach around, you got all this is jimped. And you can grab it, and it's no problem. It obviously makes this easy too, although that's not an issue on this at all. Now, I'm not saying he needs to change the shape of it or anything. Honestly, I think it works fine. He just needs the jimping. So I'm going to consider that addressed. Let me just see what front flipper jimping will go to the top, possibly up and around. What do you mean possibly? Come on, dude. Definitely. 100% it needs to do that. There's like, give me a reason not to do it. And the only one I can think of is some people think it looks better like this, which to me makes no sense. I don't see an aesthetic difference with jimping stopping short of it and jimping going up and around. You just need it to go up and then jimp just one jimp past the corner, so that you don't hit that stop pin spot, and then you're good. That dems my thoughts, you know what I mean? I like that it has sort of a sway backy look to it, right? It's kind of got that sway back look. What do I mean by that? I mean this thing right here, and then the straight back kind of deal. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the Mash. Let me grab a Mash. I have a V3 prototype. It's not going to be the best example, but obviously not talking about the handle, but I'll show you what I am talking about in a second. And this is a newer Mash. This is a V3. If I have one, but a V2 or a V1 would be a good example. Even the colorways are kind of, you know, similar. Not saying we invented these colorways, and I'm not saying this is some kind of copy. You can look at it, and obviously it's not even close. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But in my brain, when I look at this, I see a little bit of the Mash, and I see the Tempest downdraft. the downdraft blade shape, but maybe scrunched a little bit or something. I don't know. Maybe a combination of those things. It is its own thing. This is original in my opinion. I don't see any, you know, looks like this kind of stuff going on. I'm talking about it more in terms of little design choices, and I'll show you what I mean. When you look at the blade shape, it has a very similar situation here with the spine coming down to the tip. When we originally designed this, the mash, I mean, we had this more snub-nosed, right? This came out further, and it wasn't this aggressive. It didn't have this like cut down. It came down more, and it was more like a stubby tip. It was more of like what you would consider a spay blade or a reverse tanto or whatever, right? And we decided to cut that off to make it look a little more aggressive, and we also were trying to differentiate the blade shape a little bit from those reverse tanto blades, the Richard Rogers blade shape, etc. And I loved how it came out because it just looks aggressive. It looks mean, right? And that's what I get here too. I feel like this was cut off for that aggression. Maybe I don't know. He can tell me in the comments if he had it originally designed a little bit differently and he ended up making it more aggressive. But that's something I noticed that reminded me of the mash. So I'm not saying they look alike. I'm saying this one aspect is similar to me in my head, if that makes sense. But anyway, very cool. Whoops. Really digging it. So internally mounted clip. Doesn't look like you would need any special, for taking it apart. We're not going to be dealing with anything weird. You're just going to take that pivot out, and then you're going to take this screw out. Looks like both are T8s. You have tons of milling in there. Hopefully you guys can see that. Tons of milling. And then there's your clip screw right there. I am curious how deep the milling pocket is on the clip, and if we're going to get any wiggle on it. Hopefully it's nice and deep. Yeah, I'm not feeling anything. So I think they did a good job there. I would personally want to tweak this a little bit. I don't know. It kind of has like a custom knife look with that clip. Obviously it's not a custom knife. But I am one of those people that wants everything to be like perfectly square, round, whatever. I'm a very geometric person and not artistic. I am autistic, but I'm not artistic. This one is your bead blast handle, satin hardware, and it looks like, let's see if we can fire this one. Nope. Oh, kinda. Belt satin blade. Very nice. This is your kind of classic. And it's locked up solid. You could mix and match these two, which I think would be cool. Like if you took this handle, and you had a tux, you could do that, which would be sick. Or you could do a reverse tux like this. Would also look dope. And you could do the same thing with the blue, right? So you have opportunities there if you bought multiples, or he has opportunities to sell, on a second run or something to switch it up. They sound good. They feel good. I mean, the action is nice. There's no, it's important to note, I think, there's no jankiness. Like a lot of times with prototypes especially, there's a little bit of like, jank. It's hard to explain. And it sounds bad, but, you know, it happens. But I don't feel any of that. These feel solid. I mean, they feel like a production knife. Like, very, very well done. Let's see what this last one is. By looking at this, I would venture to guess it's probably... I mean, we got satin, and belt satin DLC. So, it's got to be something else, right? It's probably a straight DLC or some kind of stone wash. Acid wash, yeah. That would have been my guess. Just acid washed. Very nice. I love this too. I'm a big fan of the acid washed look. Okay, so that detent's a little tighter. Nice, yeah. Yep, I love Kubi's acid wash. And then you have dark wash on the titanium parts. Because you can't actually acid wash titanium. But we usually just call it all acid wash or whatever. Very nice. This one feels amazing. I mean, they all feel solid as shit, and they're dropping like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. I feel like there's a little bit of space here. Like, you get to the end of the handle. Since you're doing the notch thing, I like the notch thing. Again, it's ballsy, but, you know, if you pull it off, that's good. So you got the notch, but if you look at where the blade ends, you have space there. You could bring this blade out a little bit. You could stretch it out another 0.1 inches or something. Get a little extra blade length out of her. Maybe stretch this right at the end out a little bit. It would make it look, I think, a little bit even meaner. Bring your tip down a little bit more, make it a little bit thinner. And it would straighten this out a little bit at the end here where you have that curve up. It might be nice for, like, you know, stabbing motions when you're trying to poke into a package or whatever. For slicing, I think, for utility cutting. Not for, like, you know, this kind of cutting. This is actually better, but for utility cutting, having a straighter, you know, because you could bring it, you could have the, it's hard to explain, but where this goes up to the tip here, you could actually have it go a little bit more gradually since you can extend out another 0.1 inches. And then it would keep coming down and this would go straight instead of turning up. And you would get just that much more aggressive looking, which I think would be cool. Again, that's just my... Yeah, these are just my thoughts out of the box. This is what I like. You know, I love this part of knife reviewing is just being able to blather about what I think design-wise, what I would change, what I would do, you know. The jimping on the spine of the blade, I wouldn't mind, as I always say, I wouldn't mind a little Vox patch up here. Or just have it go all the way. But a little Vox patch right here would be really nice. Just so you have that index point with your thumb or index finger. Good size. Feels good in the hand. I think we got specs here. We can kind of look at this now. I think I've pretty much covered anything that I would change. I mean, the access to the fuller feels good. The fuller itself feels great. That all feels really good. Let me look at the plunge grind. Probably be easier on a... Well, then again, with a belt satin, it's different because it's hand ground, which is going to be different than on a stonewash. So these two might have different looking plunge grinds. Let's just see if we can find it. Look at it. So it does to me look like the plunge grind is going to come past, like right up to that edge termination. So potentially could have an issue there where you're going to get a smile. So maybe just, you know, could just ask Kubi. I'd like to be able to see it. Sometimes it's hard to find the plunge grind depending. On this one, it's a little easier to see. It's like I think it's right here. Same spot, just past the edge termination. You can also tell by looking at the blade, and you can see where it starts getting thicker. So you can see that it immediately starts getting thicker. Like it's not like thin, 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 and then starts getting thicker. It just gradually gets thicker right away. Do I have an example of... This one should be good because we updated it. Is this a V1 or a V2? So here you can see from right where the material starts behind the edge termination, it stays about the same thickness for a while. And then it starts getting thicker, like right here. Like right here-ish. Okay? And that's different than when you look at this guy. Here, wait, let me show you. These are both belt satin. Maybe that'll... I think you'll be able to tell, but maybe I'm crazy. And then you guys could tell me that. So, you see it? On the left, when you get to that edge termination, I need to be able to point and shit, which is very difficult. Point and shit, Kev, yes. That's what I'm trying to say. Yikes, this is difficult. Okay. So, on this one, you can see edge termination right here, and then it stays about the same thickness for a little bit, then it starts getting thicker. On this one, edge termination, and it already starts getting thicker and thicker right away. Hopefully you can see that different. This one has like basically a bottleneck almost. So when you sharpen this one, and mind you, this is a V1.5, so this has been CQI'd, right? CQI stands for Constant Quality Improvement. I don't know if that's a Spyderco trademark or just a thing that I've heard from them, but basically what that means is the first batch that we launched of this knife did not have a great plunge grind. It was basically like this one. And then on the next batch, we asked to have that plunge grind pulled back. And that is how it is now much better. Is it perfect? Probably not. I'm not an expert on that. But anyway, that's something I would maybe address with Kubi, is just ask them about the plunge grind, and then if it is where I think it is, have them pull it back if they can, and figure out your options there. But other than that, let's see if there's any striking or anything. Now you have the channel there, so you shouldn't have any issues. There is a line there. Is that from the machining? Let me just... Sorry. It should be. You see how it's bouncing like that? Think it's just bouncing off of the stop pin. This is all shit I have to do with prototypes now, because we've had every one of these problems. Yeah, here's a great one to look at. So, okay, this one's very clean. So if you look in there, let me zoom in. Look inside the channel. Do you see any marks that look like a line, right? Like a blade hit it, right? You have that one white dot thing, but I'm pretty sure that's just a speck of dust or something. I'm going to see if I can clean that up. See if I even got in there that time. I think I got it. So that speck of dust is gone now. All right, so there's nothing there. I'm going to throw it a couple times. Just throw it down. It's going to be hard to do on camera, so I'm just going to... Yeah, see, it's hard to do on camera. Let me do it off camera. That was me. God damn it. This is difficult. It's like the action's too good. There we go. That was a good one. Okay, you hear those cracks? That's the blade smacking, hopefully, into the stop pin and not hitting the backspacer. That's what you're looking for in this test. And I don't see anything. Those are a few good whacks, and there's nothing. So the channel helps there. Not that there should have been any issue, but you know, we've dealt with that with Caudabe before, where the knives were hitting the backspacer, and we had to get new backspacers, and then, you know, so now it's something we check every single time. Those all sounded great. So the acoustics are nice on these. They all sound good. They all came out really nice with the internal relief cut. Some people say the internal relief cut's not as strong or whatever. A little bit of lash on this one. This one's just a little softer detent, but no lash or anything. Same thing there. I guess they're all just the same. Maybe it's just me. Might just be where I was holding on the blade. These all feel good. He did tell me there was one with an issue, so honestly, I bet you it's just a pivot. I actually had to chase detent lash for a customer recently, and I finally did a methodical test. I got a new hardware kit, right? I took his knife apart, and I took my fresh hardware kit, and I swapped one thing out at a time. So I did the stop pin, right? I did the bearings, etc. When I got to the pivot, that's when the detent lash disappeared. The pivot. I don't know, it's the weirdest thing. Not pivot lash. Pivot lash is this one, where the pivot is a little smaller than the hole in the blade, so there's a little bit of movement there. But usually that doesn't translate to detent lash, which is this, where the blade moves a little bit. Basically, the hole for the detent ball is possibly bigger than the ball itself. And there's a lot of reasons that could happen, especially on a prototype. But if he has extra hardware, I'd be curious if he swapped the pivot out, if it fixes it. If that's like something I just figured out, that helps. But yeah. Yeah, they feel great. This is a great knife. So this is, I don't know if I mentioned this, I apologize. This is the Catalyst. Now, I gave him a name that I thought he should have went with, the Relapse. Since it was his second model, I thought it made perfect sense. Second model, Relapse, right? But he didn't, I don't think he wanted the negative connotation of relapsing, which I think is very cool of him, that he thought about the name that much, that it wasn't just that the name sounded cool, because Relapse does sound cooler, I think. It's that the meaning of it meant more. And I think that's something worth noting. So anyway, Lewis is a good dude. So here's the info on the 4 versions you see here. It is that other one that was all DLC. Everything else is what I thought it was. 7.8 overall in length. So if you look at it compared to, we could show you the tall boy again. This is usually my comparison knife. Tall boy's going to be a little bigger at like 8 inches. So she said. And then I'll show you the mash. This isn't out, but the mash is out. The design is out there. And it's like 7.5, same as a lot of our stuff. So you can see it's like between those two, right? And then just to do it, because it's going to be available this week, and people are probably wondering how it stacks up next to a Growler XL. Here you go. That's a 9¼ inch Growler XL. Fucking love it, dude. I love that knife, by the way. And here's the regular size of that, which is also going to be very similar. I like the larger size pivot. That looks cool. Yeah, same on this. Makes this one look tiny, doesn't it? It's kind of funny. So, I think it's a great size. It's right in the sweet spot, in my opinion. Yeah, these drop on the 20th at noon Eastern if you're interested. We have a whole bunch of versions. I have a video out showing them. I also have shorts up showing each version throughout this week. And I'll do a disassembly video too at some point. But anyway, that was just a funny thing to include. Let's see what his changes were, okay? Front flipper jimping, possibly. No possibly, Lewis. Up and around. Up and around. Fuller. Possibly sharper on the acid wash blade. Okay, so on this one, because it's acid washed, it gets tumbled, and usually they don't do anything to bring back the sharpness of the Fuller. So these have the benefit of being belt satin, so they have a sharp edge. Not sharp, but like, you know, a crisp edge. This one's a little bit softer, but honestly, I don't think it's that big of a deal. If they can do anything about it, sure, like why not? But is it like a detriment to the knife? I don't think so. The Fuller shape and location is why it works. So that's really done well, Lewis. I don't know if that's necessary. Also, the more I play with it, the less I need the lock bar access. I think it's fine. I just like having a big, area, but it's totally unnecessary. I mean, you can see how easy it is to disengage it. Nice chamfer on it. Maybe, you know what you could do, Lewis? That would be cool. Just a little detail. Add the same milling pattern, like micro milling pattern, right on the chamfer here. So if that lock bar where your thumb's going to go had that micro milling, I'll show you an example because there was a viewer, when I showed the prototypes of our Stout V2 design, he said the same thing. And I was like, that's a great idea. So we did it. And we added some micro milling to the tap, and it is awesome. And with yours being more micro in the milling, I think you could get away with just doing the same pattern. Just match it. I think that would look sweet. But any kind of line milling on that chamfer would be nice. I think that would be a really nice touch, dude. And then he just says, open to your feedback. So he's gotten a lot of that feedback here. Yeah, I mean, I love it, dude. I think this is a fantastic knife design. He's got a really good eye for design. I mean, you can tell. The Halt and now the Catalyst, both phenomenal designs, in my opinion. Again, my few little things that I would change. If it was me, I would either make left-handed ones or put a filler tab here. I get it. you know, I'm not, that's not a deal breaker. That's just, but I'm just telling you what I would do. I think you could stretch the blade out just a touch, use up the rest of that handle, right? You even have the backspacer kind of designed to come up and block the tip. So you might as well bury it in there a little bit more. Just my thinking. So there's that. And this clip, I just don't love that design on the end of it. I would just go full shape or just change it completely. I don't know. I just don't like. I'm not a fan of that. It looks like somebody snapped off a piece or ground it down or something. It just looks off to me. Again, personal there. Preference, personal opinion. Jimping, I would add a patch right here. Plunge grind, I would bring back that plunge grind, unless I'm just completely wrong and seeing it wrong. But it looks like it's coming right up to the edge termination. And you want it back here. Hollow grind, can they go deeper? Is the question. If they can, do you want that? Right? What is this knife for? Are you expecting this to be an all-arounder EDC knife for somebody to last a long time and blah, blah, blah? Maybe you want to leave it alone. Do you want it to be as thin as possible and as slicey as possible? Then try to get them to go deeper, you know? One thing I didn't notice is like where the fuller is, and then right under that, the flat continues. So you have the flat here. Kind of an interesting look because it comes to a head like right here. See if I can zoom in and show you. So you see the flat obviously back here, the horizontal satin, and it goes up over the fuller, and then it kind of terminates here, and then you have this swedge or whatever here. Down here it does the same thing, and then it kind of terminates like zzz, right there. And then you have, I guess it's vertical again on top. It's really interesting. I like the look of that. It's very cool. Very cool details. All right. Using Caudabe, one of the benefits is they can mill your pivot. Some reason, Best Tech or whoever, they just want to laser shit. This looked way better, so he doesn't have to offer a blank pivot. What would you call it? I call it blank. I don't know. Sterile pivot. There you go. Steel marking. Don't see one. So I would put that. I like putting it here. But, you can put it wherever you want to put it. But I would put it somewhere. People do want it. I'm a big fan of limiting branding as well. But you do want to have it somewhere. Even if it's inside the handle or something, Another cool place is on the inside of the backspacer, but you have the channel there. So, the flipper jimping was the other one. So that's everything. Very small things. Yeah, I really like it. The internally mounted clip, internal relief cut, and the internally mounted insert are all very cool things. So, yeah, great job, Lewis. That's awesome. It doesn't look like we have any information on a drop, pre-order, any of that stuff as of right now. So when and if I get that, I will either A, put it down below if it's available now and I just don't have it, or B, I'll do another video when the time gets closer or whatever. I'll let you guys know. But shout out to my boy Lewis. Great job, dude. Sorry it took me 40 minutes, but I wanted to be detailed on it. And I got to get him off to Cole over at Tri-State. So I wanted to knock it out. And I think that's what Lewis did. I think he knocked it out of the park. I think this is a banger, and it's going to be affordable, knowing Lewis. So, yeah, keep your eye on AT Knives, guys. ATKnives.net. And as you can tell, I'm very nasally. I'm sick. So I'm going to let you guys go. I love you. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you later. Peace.